Alrighty. Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, the 13th. So this is going to be our day 13 Advent um, part of the series. Seems like we've been doing these forever now, and we still got quite a few to go. Okay, so let me put my tweet out. There's that. You're done. If you see me kind of looking a little confused, apparently Twitch has updated their dashboard. So I'm kind of fiddling with that, trying to get it in. You can move all the little widgets around, so I'm trying to get comfortable as to what needs to go where, what information I need to have up and visible. Mostly it's just a chat. That's the only thing really I pay attention to. So as long as that's good and visible, we're good to go, I think. Okay, so today I wasn't quite sure what we were going to work on. But I asked my husband last night for some suggestions of things. He's dabbled in a little bit of housing, but generally speaking, he doesn't. It isn't clear to him what is possible and what isn't based on certain items that are available to us and all that kind of thing. So I just told him, just to make some suggestions, and if I think I can do them, then we'll work on it, and if not, then I'll skip it. Like he suggested snow globe. Now, while that is possible, there are some restrictions involved in that because one, if you use the glass panes to create a globe of some sort, it's going to have to be fairly big to be able to even see the glass panes, I think, in my opinion. There is the, what's it called? The snow globe that you can use. Let's see, look on the shopper here. There's the Winterfest snow globe that I've seen a few people use. They've just covered up the little snowman that's inside with whatever they want to put in. It comes with that animated snowfall that a snow globe, you would expect. And it's pretty much already set for you. That's a possibility. But I think for our purposes, I would have to maybe make a snow cube to make it easier. But we might try that for a later one. I'll have to give it some more thought as to what I would want to actually put inside it than to just kind of stick it together. Because making a snow cube, that won't be in trouble at all, I don't think. Clearly, we won't be able to add that little snowy animation kind of thing like we'd like, but it's a possibility, and it's something easier than trying to work out how to fashion a glass globe of some sort. Now, there are some tanks and stuff that you could probably use, like the Ichthian, I want to say it's the lamppost. It has a little kind of a globe thing on top, and a couple of other tanks you could probably use in place of. But it's the same things that folks would use for like the aquariums and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what I decide on. But for today, he also suggested a toy train set. So I think that's what we're going to attempt today. I've done a couple of trains in the past. I did a small toy one for my WildStar toy shop from last year. And then way, way, way back in beta, I put together more like a life-size train that went around the house. So we're going to talk about some of the pieces I used for those, and then try and put something together a little different this time. Hey Poi, good morning. Glad you could join us, and anyone else that happens to be lurking. And of course, I appreciate the hosting, Gamer. Appreciate it as well. Okay, so train set. Probably the very first thing you'll have to tackle is the track. We've seen people use 2x4s and metal planks. Those all work really lovely. Oh, thanks, boy. It was like one of my first mechanical type of builds. I was so proud of it. And I look back at it now, it's like, ew, that's so ugly looking. But anyway, uh, I've used ladders. That's a really quick way of making a track. The problem with most of those is they're straight. So getting some nice curves is a little bit trickier than if we had some actual curved tracks that we could just plop down like Insta tracks. I know we got the train cars and stuff added in a recent set of decor packs on the cash shop, but the tracks, those are a little bit, they're more like an elevated train kind of setup and not actually tracks on the ground because clearly these are like hover trains of some sort. So when you are thinking about traditional train tracks, it's not as simple as it may sound. Plus the fact that like the ladder and the planks and the 2x4s and stuff, when you start shrinking those down to toy size, that can be problematic in its own right because a lot of the things might not be visible at a certain distance or whatever. So while you would think maybe you would start with the train, I'm going to go the opposite. We're going to start with the track first and we're going to build up from there. I think it will be easier to do, I hope at least. So that's what we're going to start with. As far as what I used in the past, I forgot to pull up a picture of the one from the Protostar toy shop. I'm going to do that real quick just so I can kind of reference. Now the one from the beta that I did, that was actually, I think it was cardboard boxes mostly for like the cars. I used like plates for the tires. That was before we actually had a tire item. Of course, you don't necessarily expect tires on a train, but it might have worked a little bit better than the plates. Um, Gosh, I got too many files within files. There we go, Proto Toys. Let's see, I don't know if I've got a specific one of the train. I've got like too many bits. Yeah, here we go. So in that one, for the Protostar one, I did actually use ladders for the little set that went around. And it worked alright, but it was kind of like how when you like size up a bowl, it's got like straight edges. So it's not like a true circle type of thing. Um, so that was alright. And then I used, uh, it looks like skinny waisted barrels for some of the cars. Looks like a magnetized container for one of them. I can't really tell what I used for. It looks like a ship hand locker and one of those. Oh, the thing that they use for the outhouse fab kit. I used that for part of the car. So it was really kind of not a colorful, kitty-looking version of a train. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Yeah, boy, I don't know how those little brackets and stuff. Again, I think it's supposed to be like an elevated train, so like because they come on these like tall poles, and then I don't know. I'm hoping maybe Bones or somebody else that's already had plans of setting up train systems on their plots will show us how it's done because I really don't know because I think the hover bits on the bottom of the cars aren't supposed to actually touch the brackets. They're like, I guess it's supposed to be like a almost like a uh, oh, what do you call it, a magnet, but like working the opposite, so it would like uh, kind of float above it, like hover. But to me, you would like have to have a constant thing for it to act off against, but I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, well, I'm the last person to ask because when I saw it, I was like, that's the train, the tracks. I was like, okay. Maybe it's like they hang and the track and the little hooks are attached from the top. I have no idea, really, to be honest. But so yeah, so we're going to try and do a traditional sort of track. So what I figured is rather than doing the slats, you know, you have your two main track pieces, and you have the slats individually. The ladder is really good for that if you want to go for that look. Um, and it does size down pretty good where you can still kind of see it, so that's good as well. But since I used it last year, I'm going to just try something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the hollow dome Cassian version, just because it's, well, one, I have it in the crate, and two, it's got a nice metallic looking kind of lip. Now this is set at 1, so I'm going to just duplicate it and put it at 0.9. That brings it in a little bit. And I'm going to consider that a groove for the wheels. So I need a second one for the other side of the train cars, and just put that at 0.8. And so now I have my double groove. So this is the track. It's a really small track. You know, it's just supposed to be, typically when you see these in the rounds like this, it's something like you would have the tree in the middle and the train goes around the tree. If you want to get fancy and have, you know, little gifts on your train and everything, that's your business. But that's the idea, is it's something that would go around the tree. So now I have my double groove so that the wheels can go in. So now probably the next step is to figure out what's going to be used as the wheels. So you want something that looks like it actually fits within the grooves, so that it stays on the track. So using things like cylinders and stuff might not work as nicely as you might expect, because, you know, part of the cylinder would be cutting through the middle line there. So I figured just using the vents, the Red Moon vents, would work all right. You could use the tires if you want. You could use pillows, like the green pillows. Do a couple of those and you have some nice bright green colorful pillows that way. And then what I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to turn it to the side, shrink it down. Let's just cut that really small. And see how it just kind of nicely squeezes in there. It's maybe not perfect, but pretty close, I think, to pretend like it's following the track. And then we're going to replicate that and push it over. So you can see it's going to be pretty narrow for the wheels, or the turny things, or whatever you want to call them. But I think that's probably the closest I'm going to get to a simplified kind of track, having it visible and having some nice curves. Using it, the domes, the edges. You could use, if you happen to have some spare curved glass, you could use that instead. It would just be twice the amount of pieces, because the curved glass is only half. We don't have an actual glass tube, so you'd have to do, you know, 3 for this side and 3 for this side. So it's easier with the domes, and the hollow domes are best because, you know, you don't have that center. Now, if you wanted to use a solid one here for the middle one, to give an excuse that that's what the tree is sitting on, you can do that, or you can just leave it blank like this. I'm just doing it blank because I happen to have that many handy, so we're going with that. Okay, so the first one, I guess, would be to take care of the, what do you call it, the engine of the train. And I do have a little reference, because I'm again not very mechanical, so I'm not sure what all would be included. Um, this one's a very basic. It's just a little wooden train. It's got very primary colors. Now, I'm not going to really go into color bits. There's probably ways you could get past having to use different types of items for different types of colors by just utilizing the color shifting capabilities that we have now. So like if, just for instance, say we use the cardboard boxes, you could color those all colors of the rainbow and get uniform looking cars for different colors. For myself, I'm going to stick with just using what I have at hand as they come without doing any kind of color shifting. So again, it's my own approach. I'm ignoring the color shifting capabilities for the most part. I did show an example in the drum of how that would work, but it's not something I want to get used to using regularly because at the cost that it is, I just don't want to feel like I got to color everything. There may be some instances where I use it. Like I think it'll be great for those that have been looking for other fabrics like folded towels and stuff to be able to recolor uh, the striped towels or the folded shirts to different shades to make, you know, someone that's got like a little clothing shop or something. That'll work awesome for that. With the drum set, in fact, I was looking at it and I thought, you know, that would make great little spools of thread. You don't have to worry about all those individual bits like I did with mine on the seamstress plot, like using lots of plates to make that layering. You could just color it, pretend that's a solid spool, you know, remove this little bit here and the coloring up top, but that would make a great, quick and easy, simplified version of a spool of thread just by changing the color of the cylinder in the middle. So I see the benefit of it, but I just don't want to get in the habit of using it regularly because before I know it, I'm going to be spending, you know, that hundreds of plat that I try to avoid. I spend lots of resources because I do a lot of random projects to try and help inspire others, but I don't want that to become outlandishly so. I still want to be able to play, you know, I don't want to be spending 90% of my time grinding up the cash and renown that I need to be able to show you guys these things. So I'm keeping it as basic as possible. So we got the first set of tires. So now I need to work on how I'm going to do the front. The front usually has like some kind of a slanted grill. I've heard some people use terms like the cow pusher or something. I don't know if that's really true what they used it for, but I think we're going to see if we can find something that will work for that. Something slanted. Not quite sure what I want to use. I figure the posters as well, those might lend themselves okay to colors. I haven't really looked to see. Yeah, it's kind of, again, it's not like a very vibrant color change. It's just like it's been tinted. Okay, so let me think. Let me just look around and what I've got on hand and see what we can come from that. I know I'm going to be trying to use up some of those beer cans that I tried to use as jingle bells and those didn't work out, so I'm going to use that for something. Might use the bottles, but we'll hold off on that. What else we got in here? We'll put, no, not that. The bottom. We'll put the bottom out. I'll go ahead and put the rocket out as well. Got a bunch of just random stuffs. I don't know why I have some of those. Okay, I didn't see anything that I really thought I could use for that front. I'm looking to see if there's anything that just kind of pops out like that, rather than having to combine multiple pieces to get that same look. So just, let's see, let's look in someplace specific. Hey Bones, good morning. Glad you could join. They're like if this didn't have this like weird little antenna on top, I might think about using that as part of the front. Now I know there's some hover part pieces that probably would work really nice. I'm pretty sure, I think it was Bucky used some of those for the trains that he makes. But I want to see if there's anything else. Excuse me. Onyx maybe. The grill shell thing, yeah, that probably will be something to try. This might also make a nice front piece depending on what you're going for as far as look. You know, as much as I'm familiar with a lot of these things, it helps to look through it. Sometimes you get triggered by certain things and you wouldn't think about them otherwise. I don't see nothing. I was looking for something that's kind of like a box, but then it's got like a slant on the one side. I guess that's asking too much to have it exactly like I want. Ah, let's just go with that. Well, I'm going to use the body, the beer thingy as the body, because I think usually the top part of the engine or the front thingy. I'm using such technical terms here. I think it's usually rounded, so let's get that sorted first. And then you got to kind of decide, okay, what's the size going to be? Is that too big? Even the tires might actually be a little too big. Let's try I wonder what these look like in combo. Whoops. Totally messing that up. Like really fat looking. Oh, don't talk about kitty cats. My my son and my husband, they so badly want a pet. I'm like, no, 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 no. Because I know I'll be the one stuck with cleaning up their messes and everything. I'm just kind of winging this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Looks like a tractor. A tractor on the thing. Let's see. What would we say? The shelf? The Marauder shelf? I'd like that better if it was in a square, I think. Wow, that's just messed up totally. It has, is it like this? I think it's the tires. I think that might be too narrow, or I've got the proportions wrong or something. Something's not right. Let's size these down a little bit. And this, just move it out. I know it's kind of dragging the bottom there, but hoping that the tires will kind of cover that up and not be too noticeable. Let's make that a little bit bigger. And let's flip this. Let's see, is that closer to the front or the back? Now I know that the back end is kind of going too straight, so I'm going to have to turn it a little bit to match up with the back tires. Yeah, boy, there's that, and just, they have to be walked even in bad weather, and I'm kind of not keen on that. And when they get sick, and we already have enough of that with myself and my son going to the doctor every other day. I just can't imagine. We'd be like going to the doctor or vet like constantly. It's just not my idea of fun. Yeah, they're cute and all when they're little and stuff, and you know, but yeah, I prefer not to get into that. Okay, I think this is maybe too small is what's bugging me here. So let's, is that better? This looks a little narrow. Get rid of that one. And then for the back tires, I'm going to place those first, and then we'll adjust the angle of the train thing itself. So what I'll do is I'm going to link all this up to the front. I think that's all of it. And then just slightly rotate it a bit. Not going to be perfect, but we want it kind of close. That's still too big. It's a very clunky kind of train set. So then we want to do the next set. I don't know why it offsets like that. So I'm just gonna pull it out, turn it, and now we make our little cars. Now you can do them similar to each other. Like I said, if you find a box or something, like say you just want to use these little crates, you could probably just change the color of them if you want, so that you get, because again, a toy train typically is like primary colors, a lot of um, uh, blues and reds and yellows and things like that, but you can make it up however you want. If you decide you want to, say, have a plain brown one and maybe use some exile walls for a red car, books, some yellow books for a yellow car, green pillows for a green car, you could do it however you want. They're going to, you know, not be consistent in size and shape and everything. You know, they're going to look different, but that's one way of getting your colors without troubling yourself too much over the costs of color shifting. For me, I'm just going to keep it really, really simple. I'm just debating on if I should extend this out and try and make it like one car, or just leave it like little individual one wheel kind of thingies. I think that might be easier. So what I'll do is, probably the easiest would be to link up the tires to this little bucket. And then, whoops. See, let's set up a new thing here. For train. And just add as many little cars as you want. I think that's the easiest way for this particular one. Now, if you want to get complicated and try and figure out how to join each little car to the main engine, then I would say you could just use, well, you don't want to go with the hanging cables, because I think to shrink them down small enough to make it look normal, the cables will just be completely invisible. Probably the simplest would just be to use maybe some pillars. I'd go with something that might be a little bit visible, so maybe like the exile ones. I just don't know if we can shrink them down small enough to kind of make them go through there. Let's just give it a try here. Shrink that down. So you can just have that little doohickey sticking in there and having it like it's connected to the other. Now what I want to see is how far in does that go into the other. So now I could put it low enough so that it's not visible in the box itself, and it's just at the bottom, and of course it's so low you're not going to be able to see the bottom anyway, and have them connected that way. I think that would probably be the simplest. You could use hammers if you want something more metallic. If you want actual, like some kind of connectors, maybe the bottles would work, having them like end to end. But I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. Notice I'm lifting it up so I can kind of see about where it is in comparison to the rest, and then I sink it down so that I don't see it. So now you have little connectors. You might, if it's not too weird, you might be able to get away with using one for a couple of joints, but I figured it was easier just to leave it one per joint there. Now for filling up your stuff, you could use some of the actual gift boxes that are currently available in case you didn't pick them up last year. You could use some of the stockings, the filled ones, stick those in there, or the gifts themselves to pile it in as if it's a present train, much like the one I believe Bones is working on. Or you could just put bags like the grain sacks or the tan sacks. There's like a pile, I think. Let's see. I think it's called pile. You could use colorful pillows as like little wrap things if you want. The sack pile, and then change the color, you know, give it some color shifts if you want some red bags or green bags or something. You could use like shrunk down little treasure piles if you want. You can make it as if it's like a real life little train, like maybe this one's carrying logs and this one's got bricks in the back and this one's got, I don't know, something else. You could do it however you want. Do you need to get some presents? Let's see. What do we got? I'd probably, if I'm just wanting to throw some color in, I'd probably just go with the what is it? This one here. It's got lots of colors. Yes, it's fireworks and stuff, but it's a real quick and easy way of dumping some things in there. The only thing you have to worry about is the stuff that's a little on the outside. Now I could have just tried to use that box by itself, but again, because it's got some loose stuff, I don't want that kind of sticking out. So I'm gonna try and hide it. Wow, that's like too small. Inside its partner here. So that it looks like it's a train car of goodies. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have some bits hanging out, but maybe it'll work for you. Too small. There you go. So you could pretend those are like lots of little presents or something. Like I said, if you want to keep it colorful, pillow piles, those might work good as well. I think the one pile is craftable, if I remember right. But you could just like use oversized ones, stick them in there, count them as gifts. Or you could put toppers on the cars so you don't have to worry about filling them. That's also acceptable. Like, for instance, well, you could, I would probably just flip it and make it easier on myself. Because if you use like a curved wall or something, then you have to worry about the ends, and that requires more pieces. If you're going for really simple, I would just cap it like so and not worry about it. Um, but if you're looking for a little bit fancier and a way of coloring it as well, I would say maybe the curved walls, uh, like so. That clearly is not. But you can see how small you're going to have to make it fit. And even that's not going to be perfect. Some kind of covering, and then you'd end up having to use domes or something for the ends, and those are going to stick out. That's why I say it's easier. That was one of the reasons why I used the cardboard boxes for the big train, because you have the closed version and the open version, so that if you want to actually show things inside, have the open one, and if you want to just kind of block it off. The only thing you have to remember is on the ends, the handle parts for the boxes, you can actually see inside the cardboard box. So usually I put something on either end so it kind of blocks it off and you can't see. But yeah, I think it's just up to you how you want to do it. So we got some fireworks, we got pillows. Let's see, maybe got a little bit of what else? What else? Maybe different kinds of flowers or something. I got some spare stuff here. Some Christmas or holiday trimming. Is there any tree here? No. We got some hedges, I guess. And what else? Fresh intestines, maybe? I don't think so. Oh, let's just grab something. Plants, 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 plants. Just stick another vase in there. So maybe the train is carrying the holiday decorations to the little town, but they just kind of go in a circle, circle, circle. If you're wanting to kind of try and make it a little bit like it's a functional train, sort of, and are looking to give it some kind of smoke, probably, well, you could go with the teacup if you happen to do the quest, or pick it up from the vendor. That has a little bit of a smoke effect. There's also the bubbling cauldrons, the Skeech one and the Witch's Brew. Those come with that bubbling, boiling sound. I think it's the same way with the toxic barrels. Um, Then, of course, there's the actual smokes that you can get from the cash shop that doesn't have, I don't think they came with sound effects. And of course, you're not bound by having to hide the cauldron or whatever that might be inside them. But you can get those in the housing decor and just look up the smoke decor pack. It comes with a variety of colors. I think it's got some yellows, greens, and reds, and then the black and white or the smokes, depending on your requirement. But if you're wanting to just go with something that's handy, readily available, I would say either the bubbling Skeech cauldron or the toxic ones. So this is the green one, that's the yellow one. Let's go with green, I guess. And just line it up with your little chimney thing on the engine, and then you're able to tuck it inside the bit itself. I don't think there's too much sticking out the bottom. I've made it pretty thick so it's visible. And there you have a little bit of a working kind of thing. Just notice how that thing goes all the way up. So if you have a custom house and you built a little train set underneath, you know, on the bottom or the first floor, and then you have like your bedroom up above, you might have a stream of green smoke going through your bed or something because it doesn't have any kind of concept of collision to the ceiling or whatever. This is true for not only this, but a lot of the fireplaces, a lot of their little embers and stuff that pop and crack out. It goes right straight through the floors and stuff. So keep that in mind. If you can figure out a clever way of kind of making that work, maybe you have the toilet right above it or something and it's got some green smoke coming out of the toilet. I don't know. But just keep that in mind. No matter how small that toxic waste bucket is, the stream is pretty solid and continuous. Notice though, when I turn my camera up a certain way, it disappears. I'm not quite sure why that does that. We've had some other kind of quirkiness, like looking through waterfalls and how it kind of negates certain things, and glass as well. It kind of works weirdly. So just one of them deals. So again, the idea is that your little train runs around the tree. You can get fancy, put a little controller for the train. That I would obviously use the hanging cables to kind of help play that idea out, have it somehow connected to the track, and then have some kind of a controller box to the side. So like, you could get elaborate and have like a little tunnel for the train to ride through, or like a little, use one of those caution bars as like a train stop for somebody that's crossing the tracks. You can get all sorts of elaborate. You've seen people in real life that have those nice little train sets that got like a whole little city scene. I wouldn't doubt there's been some builders that have made little scenes like that, all miniaturized little villages and stuff, and have a little train running through, just like you would, you know, at Christmas time. So for like the box, you could use like, I don't know, a detonator or something. Let's use this one. You know, maybe not to blow up the train, although you could do that. You know, some Chua might want to do that. But just some kind of an idea that this is connected. Let's see. And maybe this one on top. So like the little kid would sit here and play with the train set, that kind of thing. And then of course, as I said, it's meant that, you know, you'd have your little tree set up here. So you could either use, you know, regular tree. Let's see, where's the pine? Now, me personally, with the pine trees that we have in game, they're nice. They're okay. The main issue is they move. And I always feel like they're not full enough because you can see like all the roots and stuff. And so typically I like use multiples of them to kind of beef it up a little bit. It's what I used for last year's like giant tree in the mall that I put up. So you could do it this way. You could use the fake one like I did in the candy place, or you can just make one of pillows. I got an example of one of those over here, like a pillow tree. You can make one out of the brambles like we did here. There's lots of ways you could do the trees. If you don't want a tree, you know, put some kind of a winter scene. Plop down one of those snowy platforms right in the middle and make yourself a little winter scene and have that as your centerpiece. This would be great for like if you have maybe you know, it doesn't have to be a home scene. It could be maybe in the middle of a mall or a store, like you're wanting to do a display for your shop or something. You could put one of those, the tree shelves that you get from the decor pack that's up now. You could do that. But you can make like a little winter scene, like hills and some iced over falls and little mini pine trees and stuff, and just have your little train going around that. It doesn't have to be a tree. It's just typically, that's what I picture when I think of a little train set. It's usually going around the skirt of the tree kind of thing. So yeah, I hope that gives some of you some ideas of some things that you might can include in your holiday decorating. You know, it's not just about garlands and things. A lot of it has to do with toys. You know, getting to know your inner child a little better, thinking about all the little, you know, tricycles and dollies, and you know, maybe you want to make a little dollhouse for your character or something. Uh, Maybe like a scooter thing, you know, the one that's got like the handle and stick and the little thing and you push. There's just all sorts of toys you could put in, and trains is kind of a common one that's associated with the holidays because, you know, it's like the dad and son kind of thing where they put it together. And or maybe racetrack, maybe you want to do a little racetrack kind of thing instead of a train. You could do it that way. I know my dad and my brother would do the Hot Wheels racetracks, and they'd have like loop-de-loops and all sorts of things. And with the hover part pieces, that would be super easy to set up, I think. for someone with a little bit of cleverness in mind as far as how to put all the pieces together. That's not something I could do very well, I don't think, but yeah, it should be fun. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of some extra decorations, different approaches. You know, I know mine's not necessarily lots of primary colors, but I kind of left that to mostly the cargo, I think, and just kept it very basic. Um, like I said, you could use cardboard boxes, a lot of the containers, even the cylinder ones like the skinny waisted barrels. Um, you could use round cars instead, like say the empty feeding troughs. Any of the like metal pots or bowls, those would work fine. Um, if you're going for more rectangle and want to be specific about the materials you use, then of course the exile walls or any of the other walls, Tula or otherwise, would work nicely. If you're just going for solid, even the corrugated containers, those look like actual train cars to begin with, so that would work okay. Again, for the smokes, I would stick with the tea cup or the ones you get off of the vendor. But if you already have purchased the smoke packs, then of course, you know, feel free to utilize those. It's much easier. You don't have to worry about hiding anything. And of course, you don't get the sound effects that go with it, I don't believe. Um, if you don't want an actual moving smoke and you just want to replicate something that looks like smoke, then I would say either use like the frozen lake, frozen water, I guess is what it's called. And I know this sounds weird, but like just turn it to the side. And this would probably be really ideal for like a painting of a train. Um, use that as the smoke coming off of it. Let me turn this and then. And that way you don't have to worry about an actual animation going through your floors or the sound effects that might come with some of the pieces you decide to use. You could just do it like this. Trying to get that just right. There you go. You can do it like that. That way it looks like smoke coming out of the stack, but you don't really have to contend with all of the other gobbledygook that comes with it. You could use that, or if you want to get even fancier, maybe multiples of the snow clumps, that kind of thing, to make like little poofy white clouds coming out of it. Or you could just leave it off. It's not really required that it be representative of smoke or something. This one's a little dark, so it looks like it's like contaminated smoke. But if you use like the snow clumps and stuff, that should work pretty good. Trying to think if there's anything else that we can throw out there as a suggestion. Again, the control panel, that could be just about anything mechanical if you want to use just a screen. For me, when it comes to these kind of things, typically I just use what's on hand. If I happen to have a lot of stuff in my crate already, I dig through that and see if I can just get something from there to work. I don't necessarily always specifically buy something. On occasion, there are certain things that I already have in mind, but generally speaking, it's always good to what I call recycle your decor. If you've used a detonator in the past for something else and then you happen to have it in a crate, it's only smart and cost efficient if you reuse it in the next build in some shape or form rather than buying something anew. yes, it might get a little repetitive, but again, if you kind of find different ways to twist it, turn it, size it, then it kind of disguises that you're actually using the same thing over and over. Um, but yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and call it for today, guys. I know it's a little bit of a short show today, but got some things going on. My husband's going in for surgery this afternoon. It's just a kind of a really quick, and it's like he's in 15 minutes and then he's out again. But I kind of I'm a little nervous for him. He's not nervous at all. He thinks it's just like it's just a usual thing, but it still makes me kind of nervous. It's not like he's going under or whatever heavily. It's just a little local kind of anesthetic, but still, you know, you hear the word surgery and all kinds of bad things come to mind. So it's not till this afternoon, but I'm already fretting over it. So I think it's a good idea. Go ahead and take a, you know, disconnect for a little bit, distract myself with some TV watching or something, or some decorating. I've got some extra gifts I need to wrap and stuff. So I'm going to get to work on that to get my mind off of what's coming later today. And hopefully this is still enough food for thought for you guys to come up with some fun ideas on your own. It'd be fun to see if anyone else makes a little toy train for their holiday scenes. But yeah, so that's day, what is this, 13? That's even worse. It's like unlucky 13, and he's going for surgery. But anyway, I hope you guys had fun. Be sure and join us tomorrow. We're going to be doing some more winter tours. And then Thursday we'll be back for another Advent project. But Friday, I will not be here. I'm taking an extra day off. I have like a holiday party that I'm going to be attending Thursday evening, and I don't think I'm going to be in any condition to get up early the following day. So just a heads up that I believe it's the 16th. Yeah, Friday the 16th, I will not be streaming, so we'll just be going into a 3-day weekend. And of course, a reminder as well that on Monday and Tuesday, the 26th and 27th, I will also be off. I'm just going to have an extended holiday there as well, but we'll be back on the 28th, which is a Wednesday, to kick off probably, presumably, our last winter tours series. Unless I have a lot of extras, we may extend that into January, but I'm going to just assume we're going to stop on that on the 28th. But yeah, so the 16th will be gone, 26th and 27th also gone. So hopefully you guys have other better things to do anyway, so it's not going to be that big of a deal that I'll be missing those days. But yeah, in the meantime, good luck with your projects. Hope you are enjoying this holiday season so far. Good luck with the wrapping and present buying if you haven't tackled that yet. Thankfully, I've gotten most of mine done, so hoping that is one less worry on my shoulders. But yeah, have a great day, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.